How's it going, guys? Indiana John here, and today I'm going to attempt a build video. This is like something that I've really wanted to do for a long time. Not this particular build, but just like kind of piecing together a video demonstrating, not demonstrating, but kind of walking through a process for a build. And this particular build is going to be a mini bullwhip, and this right here is a whip that I recently finished. I don't know how well you guys can see that and stuff. My display isn't working super well, but anyways, yeah, this isn't exactly a specific style of whip. It's not really a woody, and it isn't really a performance hybrid, but there's some precision work to it. I turned it on a metal lathe, it has a copper ferrule, and I actually soldered in a tapered cable and then put heat shrink over that and some other cool stuff. But you'll probably see that with the mini version that I'm gonna make. So this is very new to me. I'm not really a computer guy, so it might be a little cringy, but I welcome feedback. So if you guys have any input on, different types of shots to use or avoid, or, if there's information missing, like if there's something that I don't film that you wish that I had filmed, let me know. And then same thing with like, if there's like clips in here that are either redundant or not really necessary, that, make it dry or boring, like this intro, let me know about that too. I would love to get better at doing this, but you got to start somewhere. So this is where I am, very beginning, very bottom of that ladder. So yeah, without any further ado, I'm gonna jump into it and pretty much figure it out on the fly. I'm not really planning this out super elaborately. Like with a higher end knife, I totally am very intentional about material selection and process and order of operations, but this is going to be like a little 3-foot pocket bullwhip, so it's going to be pretty by ear. I'm going to play it by ear, so I don't think I'm going to include measurements to go off of because it's going to be changing as I go. So this isn't really a tutorial. If you're looking for a tutorial for a mini bullwhip, you should totally check out Nick's Whip's video on a 3-foot bullwhip. Super duper well done video. I actually watched that last night and I was like, you know what? I should do another mini bullwhip. It's been a while and I think it's going to be a cool video. So here we go. Okay, so I just barely started getting things going and ended up with a little side project. I had to sharpen the blade on my pipe cutter for cutting some pipe for making the ferrule. And I grabbed a block of wood. This is actually the same block as the handle of the big one. There we go, the big whip, full-size one. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to do, I was trying to decide what diameter to use for the metal shaft section. And on this guy, I used 3/8. And so I was thinking about using 1/4 inch because I've got 1/4 inch brass. And then I was thinking that maybe 3/16 would be a little more of a accurate scale. And I don't think I have 3/16 brass, but I have 3/16 copper, and the ferrule on this guy's copper, and I'm gonna do a copper ferrule. And so I'm having a hard time deciding exactly what I want to do specifically. So I think I'm just gonna make 4 different whips, and it shouldn't make the video much longer, but yeah, it might be a little confusing for watching because I'll be jumping back and forth between different whips, maybe. I don't know. Again, this is just totally free form, going with the flow. So just wanted to show you guys some of the materials I've got before I start chopping stuff up and sticking things together and doing that type of stuff. So this is that 1/4 inch brass, and I've got several of these 3/16 diameter copper bars. And then again, I've got this block, and this is Bacote, which is a really stinky wood, but it looks pretty. And I've got some copper tube that I pulled out of something. I don't know. I have a whole like shelf in the storage area of my shop, a whole shelf of just random scrap copper, like wire and pipes and junk like that sitting around. And so I love using it for stuff like this. That's what this copper tube is from, that shelf. I don't know what from specifically, but anyways. And then most of my materials that I use are like, I specifically buy like paracord or knife making steel or nice carbon fiber and stuff like that. But woods, but with copper, it's just like, it's a lot cheaper to use old random scrap. So that's the scoop on that. And I should really jump into working on stuff. So I think we're gonna hop over to the bandsaw and chop this. And I'm not gonna cut it 4 equal ways. I'm gonna make two 2-foot whips and 2 3-foot whips, which are completely different builds, kind of like it's not the difference between like a 7-foot bullwhip and an 8-foot bullwhip. Like this, it's a whole different scale. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, but to have the bandsaw going and some other machines, I need the phase converter going, so that's pretty noisy. So that'll probably be chopped up into the next clip. So yeah, here we go. All right, so the next step is I'm gonna knurl a little section of the end of this. And if you don't know what knurling is, I don't actually have something right on hand, but it's like a diamond pattern mushed into something. I should have grabbed something beforehand. This is that's not a great example. Anyways, whoops, just threw away a wrench. You'll see in a minute here. So yeah, you've got rollers with different directions, different grooves that are in different directions. Like this one, they're all going to the left. That one, they're all going to the right. And as it spins, it mushes. It mushes in, and it forms a cool little pattern. And I think so. It's definitely gonna help with grip. And it also is sort of a ornate little cool thing to do, and I like doing that. So I'm going to see if I can do a little knurled section. Yeah, that'll look something like wow. Sometimes knurling does not work at all, but that looks pretty bang on. Let me see if I can get a good little close-up. Hopefully you can see that that little pattern. Yeah, it's a sweet little process that I really like doing, especially when it works. So that's knurled, and I'm gonna get that out of the way. Get this out of the way. This little handle is kind of a little example of
the sort of thing that we're making right now, and just the type of stuff that I really like. So that is part of what is inspiring me to make this. I love wood handles. I love non-ferrous ferrules, and manually machined stuff, old school looking stuff. So this already has a hole bored into it partially. I was gonna make a knife spacer, but decided, or no, I did make some knife spacers, and then this is just the stock that I still had with a little bit of a hole. So I don't need to center drill it, but normally you'd start with something like that so that you start in the middle, but it's already got a hole, so we're good to go. I'm using 16th diameter twisted steel cable for my core, and I am going to taper it, so I'll untwist it and snip it and taper it that way. But to have a spot to fit it in, I'm going to drill a hole. Copper is really gummy. This is a wicked sharp drill. I probably should use oil. I don't know. I'm still feeling pretty good. Should get my air compressor. I don't like that sound. I'm gonna super glue it. This is plenty deep, and when that cable's in there, and when I braid over it, that knurling has so much grip. It is gonna be just fine. I'm gonna grab a little brush, clean out some of that. Actually, yeah, I don't know. That's probably fine. I'm gonna do the other 3 or 4 of these and then go on to the next step. All right, so these guys are knurled, drilled, ready to get press fit into some fancy little wood blocks. And there's a cool little technique I wanted to show you guys that I learned at NESM. I can't remember who specifically. It might have been Zach Jonas, but anyways, it's a neat little trick. Yeah, I wish I could remember. Anyways, it's pretty sweet for specifically for like knife handles, but just drilling any type of wood block. And it's sweet for, like, if you have an irregular shape, it can be a little hard to figure out how to drill it and keep that bit going through the center, especially for something that you're going to be turning, because, you know, if you drill it off to the side and then, you know, you turn it on that axis, if that's close to the edge, you're going to have to remove a bunch of material to get rid of the flats. And that's kind of no bueno. So if you stick some type of, I use a countersink, but on some other drill presses, I put like a threaded bolt that I ground to a point and then used washers and nuts to jam it onto the table. And what that does is it acts as like a center on a lathe, like a dead center. And so what you do is you'd mark the middle of the back, and then you put it on there, and then as you're drilling, it's going to keep you from wandering out the side. So I'm going to chuck up some of this stuff. These are the copper ones are 3/16. So I'm using Actually, I should double check that. I think I'm using a, yeah, this is a 1/4 inch. This one is 1875 approximately. So that's 3/16. So I'm going to go ahead and drill some of these. Come on. There we go. I'm going to drill some of these and then switch that and drill the other ones. Alrighty, next step is using the big old arbor press here to press the pins into the blocks of wood. I'm going to start with this one first. I'm going to use some super glue. Make sure there's no dust in there. And that wasn't super good. You want to try to get the glue to fall down and not just all get stuck at the top. You want to use a fair amount, but not too much. Make sure to put the cap back on and oops, in between uses. Lift this a little bit. Hopefully that will sit there nicely. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. With the brass, I knurled the back of it, which is a much better way to do it. It doesn't look as nice, but it's definitely easier for machining, and you'll see what I mean in a little bit. But I think I can get away with the copper ones. Ooh. Alrighty. That worked pretty good, I think. Let me see. Yeah, I think I probably should go all the way in. Let me just see if I can do this without blowing it up. Yep, that's pretty much the bottom. Okay, now just gonna get a random little scrap piece of wood. It's not really working super well. That didn't, oh my goodness. Wow, that hardened. Gee, that's like solidified. Wow, I guess I'll scrape that out with a knife. Dang, that was ridiculously fast. Huh, okay. On to the next. This one is copper. And is that gonna start nice? I guess so. I'm gonna use a lot less glue this time. And a smart thing to do would have been to score up the sides of that, but this is just a little mini pocket bullwhip, so I'm not too concerned. I don't think anybody's gonna be swinging from trees with these. Alrighty, scoop that all down into there. Hope it doesn't roll up. Is it bottom? Whoop, that's the bottom. Cool. Ooh, there's some on the side. Did it crack? Maybe it was on my finger. I don't know. Well, what the heck? I don't know. I don't know. It's looking pretty cool so far, though. I'm really digging that one. That is pretty sweet. Look at that knurling. Wicked happy with how that turned out. Gonna do a couple other ones. And yeah, I'll try to keep talking as I go. Gonna do the other brass one. This is probably gonna end up either being a 2-part series. Oh, I forgot to do that with the other one. Whoops. It's either gonna be a 2-part series or a really long video. I don't know. This is all completely new to me. Even this build. I haven't done any of these. I didn't have enough glue, but it's alright. It's gonna work out just fine, I think. Well, yeah, that's alright. Playing it by ear. I think I want to do this one next. Aha, I remembered. I didn't even have any dust. Let me see. I don't know if these are all going to get ferrules. It would be nice, because ferrules are stinking cool. But, I don't know. It's going to be pretty tricky to turn these copper ones. Ooh, I don't like that sound. Ah! Dang it! Gosh darn. Well, that one just totally cracked. Yeah, I should have seen that coming. We'll see. I think this one is no good. That sucks. That's why you do stuff in batches. That's also a reason why you wouldn't do stuff in batches. Or why you shouldn't. Because you might have a fatal flaw in your design or process. And if you do stuff in batches right from the get-go, you might do a batch of things that just aren't going to work out, and that is kind of a scary thing. That's why I still haven't done any batches of ballad songs. There's been a few times where I've done multiple at the same time, but I haven't done like a batch, you know. But we'll see. This one's got that. Got that nice knurling again. Yeah, I think that's it for this. We'll go on to the next step, whatever that may be. Is it working? Oh, it is. Cool. All right, so I've got some heat shrink slid over the knurled section. It's not shrunk on it. I just have it slid over as like a collet type of knurl protector thingamabob. And I think that this is worth giving a shot. I should have marked my depth, and I thought about it, but I didn't. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll just have to keep this overall length. But, as you can see, I didn't do a very good job with centering this. I should have marked it out and done it all correctly, and this one might not even work at all, so it's a live and learn type of scenario. But I'm going to do the old redneck drill lathe technique, even though I have like 6 different lathes that I could, well, not that I could use for this, but I do have a handful of lathes. Yeah, I'll give this a shot. Here we go. Okay, so that kind of sort of worked, doing the old redneck lathe drill grinder thing technique. Classic. But I really do want to do some of these with ferrules, so the copper ones I'm probably going to do that way because I really don't want to try... Well, you know what? No, I will try one of the copper ones with the lathe chuck, because the heat shrink seemed to do a pretty good job at preventing the drill from denting the knurling, so that's pretty cool. I wasn't sure about that. I think I'd feel better if there were 2 layers, but we'll see. I might do that for the other ones. But anyways, with the brass ones, they're only knurled in the handle. So I'm gonna try turning it, and since I did the little center thing for the drill press technique, I can set up my tailstock, and it seems to be not super happy. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully I can take that center mark out afterwards, but we will see. I am pretty certain that that is not the correct tool height. There we go. I need to make a better thing for that, but that'll do for now for wood. Anyways, I'm gonna try turning this, and with my handy dandy calipers and this little piece of copper tube. I think this was like $2.95. Yep, $2.90-ish. And with a ferrule, you really do want to press fit, especially on wood. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do basically 5/16, which is 312.5, 0.3125 of an inch. Yeah, maybe, well, maybe even like 305. Probably 305. That, maybe even 300. We'll do 305. We'll do 305. So I'm gonna time lapse a, not time lapse. Yeah, time lapse a little sequence of turning this. So here we go. Okay, here we go. So I have the soon-to-be ferrule, hopefully, right on there. I have my collet loose. And I am going to attempt to use, oops, that should be loose. I'm going to attempt to use this little scrap chunk of ipe to be with the tailstock to do the old press fit in the lathe technique. So far it's moving. I did turn a little bit of a taper off camera. Ha ha ha! Beautiful. Well, that's exciting. That worked. Sweet. That's wicked cool. We got a little ferrule on there. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm digging that. That is wicked cool. Awesome. So now, oops, that should be locked. Gonna stick that there. Awesome. Gonna do a little bit more turning with a different tool. Okay, as you guys probably just saw, things did not go how I wanted them to go. I'm gonna see if I can get that to come off. Man, should have glued. I thought a press fit was gonna be good enough, but it would have been good enough if I had switched to the old drill lathe thing I've been doing. This is no bueno. I need to slide it off of there, but I don't know what a great technique would be to do that. Stinking bugs. Yeah, well, this is unfortunate. I suppose I could try the old channel locks. These guys are always handy dandy, just like a notebook. Come on, baby, come on. Ooh, I should be doing that on the low spot. Come on, please, please. Boy, this is not cooperating too kindly. Come on. Boy, this is This is not very fun anymore. You know what? I'm gonna say that's good enough for glue. Whoop. And that's, yep. Okay, here we go. Gonna just glob some onto there. Yep. And this stuff, as we saw a little bit ago, solidifies pretty darn quick. Come on, stinking lathe. Please scoot nicely. Okay. Alright. Hopefully that remedied it. I think I'm going to switch to the drill and the sander for truing that all up. I'm going to do a little bit more work on the heel. It is the heel. I was going to say heel knot, but it's not a knot. So here we go.
Okay, so just got this handle essentially done, I think. I contemplated using the roll attachment on one of the Panto mills to engrave my logo in the ferrule there, but I am not wanting to mess around with doing that at the moment, so I don't think I'm going to do that for this one, but in the future, it's very likely that I'll make some little engraved ferrules like that. I might do a little concho-y thing recessed into the end of this with my logo on it, but I don't think I'm going to do that for this whip, these whips. And so for the sake of this video, I think I'm going to show how I make a little tapered cable core. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm not going to be using measurements, so that didn't work. So I don't know how long this is, and I don't really care how long it is. It's that long. So sorry if that is annoying, but I think in a way it's helpful. I get wrapped up in or caught up, I guess is the expression. I get caught up with being all fiddly and precise and getting things dialed into the number I need, and I think it's a healthy exercise to wing it, eyeball it, use the old eye chronometer, as Nick Rossi says. So the cool thing about doing a tapered cable core is you end up with two. And I kind of forgot about that until just a second ago. I saw this guy, and this is the negative. Like this, I twisted back together from the scraps of the tapered cable core in that whip. So that's kind of a cool little feature of doing a tapered cable core. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time saying that. And if you might have noticed that I'm using channel locks to cut this, and the channel lock brand channel locks are designed with a sweet little set of cutters down in there, like a lot of old school pliers, or just a lot of pliers, lineman pliers and other stuff, have that little cutter in the base, and it seems to work. Oddly enough, it seems to work a lot better than like normal cutters, or at least the cutters that I've used. So you'll notice as I do this, my scraps are tapered at the same rate. The scrap one, odds are it's not going to have the core, and because of that, it's going to be a little bit smaller. But these are different sized, so that works out great for me in this case. Yeah, just about there. It's not too tricky to coil the scraps, but using a zip tie can help with that if you're having a hard time. And I'm just about done. Bear with me. Yeah, around there-ish. Well, maybe a little, yeah, there-ish. Give or take precisely a micron. Yeah, right around here. Maybe a little more than that. Right there, right there. Yeah. And then I could, yeah, I will. The core in this cable is also twisted. And I'm just going to cut a couple of them off. How many is that? 6? I'll cut 3. Yeah, 3. You there. Come on. There we go. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, something like that. It's going to be perfect. With such a small and light whip, every amount of taper you can give it, it will gladly use, because reasons. Because it's so small and light, it's hard to get it tapered nicely, and it really is noticeable if it doesn't have a good taper. So yeah, that right there is totally exactly what I'm looking for. And like I said, this one is a little bigger, so it's going to go in the bigger whip. And this one, I did not use a spot drill to center it, and so I just plunged with that little 3/32 drill in it. It's way off center, but it's a bullwhip, and there's a natural curve. And I think I'm going to put that at the top, so it's closer this way. And then cable also has a natural curve when it's coiled. And so I'm going to do it that way. And it's not very deep. I probably should solder it, but I really don't want to. So I'm not going to. I'm going to super glue it. Yeah, let me go grab my super glue. Okay, I'm back. Got my glue. Messed around with some other stuff. I need to pick up some smaller heat shrink. And I was like, you know what? That's not working good. Yeah, good enough. I was like, you know what? I really want to solder this. I'm going to solder it. And I thought about it, and I brought my torch over, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to solder it. And then I got over here, sat down, and I was like, no, I'm not going to solder it. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, it's a teeny little whip, and it's plenty sufficient to glue it. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. While that's setting up, whoa! Nope, that didn't work at all. I don't know if you, yeah, you can see it. This is the best vise for whip making, period. Like, hands down. The Stanley 82-069, I think. 83-069. It is just amazing. I'm not sponsored, although they did send me this one. I have another one. I don't think you can see it. Maybe it's back there, kind of. Yeah, I actually found that one at the dump, and I used it for years. Made a bunch of whips, a bunch of other things, and the bolt in it snapped, and so I welded it, but I'm not very confident in my weld. And so I not too long ago sent them an email through their support system, and here we go. Meet the jaws, and they were like, "Can we see a picture of it to make sure you actually have one?" And I sent them a picture, and I was like, "Yeah, it is working currently, but I'm scared it's gonna break again." And they were like, "What's your shipping address?" And so I asked if I could buy the bolt, and they just sent me a new vise, and it's just beautiful. It is so handy. It has this like locking ball joint, and man, it is wicked solid when it's locked. Is that solid yet? No, it's not. Gee, okay. But yeah, it is the bee's knees of little articulating vices. Love it. Love it so much. Yeah. If I had soldered it, I would have been done by now. But I was a little scared about that heat traveling up to the wood handle with it being so short. With this one, heating over here, the heat did not get anywhere close to the grip. But this little guy being tiny, I feel like there is definitely a possibility of that. And I don't think you guys need to see me coil up this bunch of scrap wire for the other one, but I'm gonna get started on it. Man, this is gonna be a long video. I'm gonna call it pretty soon. Also, it's like 1:30 in the morning, so probably shouldn't work too much later. Am I even wrapping this the right direction? I'm not. I wrapped that the wrong direction. Yeah. That's... My dad has a rule. He is also self-employed. And his rule is... it's 2 mistakes. Like if you're working late, you have 2 mistakes. The first one's a freebie because we're human and we mess up. But by the time you notice 2 mistakes when you're working in the evening, odds are fairly good that you've missed other mistakes, and it can actually be a lot more expensive and all around costly to keep working. And so once you notice 2 mistakes, it's a good indicator that it is time to call it. And yeah, I think I'm gonna just have this video be the part 1, as you knew this whole time because you're in a different time. Yeah, so this is part 1 of making mini bullwhips. And you probably also know this, but this whip, I was going to say this in the intro, this whip is the first of what I'm going to call precision hybrids. And those are, if you're familiar with other whips, you might have heard of performance hybrids, which typically have PVC handles, and they perform very, very well because they're so light and agile. But I am more of a flow artsy kind of a whip cracker and not as much of a sport competition whip cracker. So yeah, in general, I kind of like whips to be a little bit heavier. And that just makes them a little bit slower. So, and I love precision stuff. And so I've been wanting to machine all sorts of funky pieces for whip handles for a while. And this is like the first whip that I've done machining on. I knurled it up there to help with grip, and I think I knurled it on both ends, which is surprisingly difficult to do because you gotta like open the collet to get the knurling through it, and then you have to take it out. And anyways, yeah, but then I machined that little ferrule and stuff. So I'm gonna start getting more rambly. It's already been a really long video, so thank you for sticking with it this long. And hopefully I will get this editing magic stuff figured out and get this posted. And I probably didn't finish the sentence I was starting a minute ago, where I was saying that this is the first precision hybrid. So these are baby precision hybrids. Yeah, I am pretty excited. They are very fun. You thought I was gonna miss that, didn't you? I'll bet you did. There we go. Okay. All right, you know what? I'm gonna glue this in, and then it'll be closure, and that will be it for the video. Let me just get a little bit on there. Yep, something like that. Good enough. Get this guy. Piece of glue stuck on my finger. All right, come on, a little bit. Bam. Oh boy, that had a lot deeper. Okay. Boom. Beautiful. This is a little teeny work of art. Awesome. There we go. Thank you for joining me on this very long part 1 build. Yeah. Hopefully I will actually make these into whips and do videos on the rest of it and get that stuff figured out. So again, thank you, and see you in the next one.